It's a forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. We are live for our championship week. Week 17 starts in sit show. You know, we were talking, and we kind of came to the conclusion that if we throw out a recorded show, how many people really are going to be watching, and how much info is actionable in that show? So if we go live, if we take this live instead of dropping the recording on a Friday, if we go live on the Friday, we've got some more intel on injuries and stuff like that. We're actually going to get some people in the chat who've got money decisions to make. It's championship week, y'all. And you guys are watching because either you love our pretty faces or you really need help trying to win these chips. So that's what we're here to do. Drop your starts and sits questions into the chat. We will address as many as we can. We got some special guests coming up later. We hope you had a great Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. We hope you have a great New Year coming up. And we're here to just hang out for a little bit on this fine Friday, live instead of recorded. And, say hi to all you folks who are like us in the championships, baby. What's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy? I'm pumped because I got 4 teams in championships this week, plus a big tourney that I'm doing pretty well in. And I see that in a couple leagues. I see that we're in together. I see you're in the championship. So looking pretty good here, folks. And we are excited to do some start and sits. Let's get into it, bigz. Let's give our 2 starts, our 2 sits each, and then we'll get into the viewership start and sit questions if we got any coming down the pipeline.
Okay, well, I did want to give the folks some accountability, let them know why they can trust us and the analyses that we do. So let's talk about some of our studs and duds from last week.
Absolutely. Okay. I'll get her going then. Let's get into last week. And last week, I thought I did pretty damn good. And here's why. I told everybody to start Jerome Ford, and he went off 11 for 92 and a touchdown. But he also played a part in the receiving game. As we know, he had 5 receptions, 39 yards, finished as a top 3 running back on the week. So bang on there. Aaron Rodgers, I told everybody to start. Didn't kill you, didn't, catapult you in a championship, but still had a decent game, 256-1. Like I said, it didn't kill you, but it didn't catapult you. That was my only weak call from last week because I told people to sit Najee Harris, who had 9 rushes for only 42 yards against a Ravens defense that I knew was going to be stout. And then I told everybody to sit Amari Cooper, who only had 1 catch for 10 yards. So both those guys are sit worthy, and Jerome Ford was a smash start. So I thought I did pretty well. How about you there, bigz?
Everything I said last week worked out, and we don't need to get into it anymore. I had a couple of plays last week that I was pretty confident in. Nailed the sit Joe Mixon part. He came up with 5.9 points. I was a little bit short on Kendre Miller. He didn't quite have the usage that I thought he would with Alvin Kamara being out. Kamara is also out this week. Aiden O'Connell, just like you said, didn't hurt, didn't kill you. Now, I did get one call extremely wrong, and that was Terry McLaurin. But I will defend that take. Now, I said that the Philadelphia Eagles defense was going to shut down Terry McLaurin, and for the most part, they did. He did have the benefit of 1 touchdown. He got into the end zone, and that's kind of the wild card. But those things are not sticky. They're not predictable. So he only finished with 17 points. It was his worst performance of the last month. Okay. He only had 6 targets. He had 5 catches, and I said that he was going to be below 8 targets. So if you take that touchdown away, he's right at 10 points. I capped him at 8. That's not a terrible call, you guys. So he winds up as wide receiver 17. That's not great. That's the floor that we should expect from Terry McLaurin. So maybe instead of saying sit him, I should have said expect his floor. But that touchdown was the difference in my call being dead on, or, I hope you guys overcame.
Yeah. And, sometimes that's just the process, right? Sometimes we get some really big hits. And for the most part this season, we're hitting at least a 80% rate here. I'd say. So let's keep it going.
I'm going to go more in the 60-70 range, but you can kind of nudge that to 8 if you want, 80 if you want. To Lion Vlog, I just have to say, come un.
Exactly. Okay, so Unfortunately, this person lost Kamara and Hurts. It is so brutal. So they got a pretty important question for us today. Would you start AJ Brown with Pickett or Brian Thomas Jr. for quarterback? Also lost Richardson, most likely Drake May or Bryce Young. Okay, so to me, for me, I'll start this one off, and then bigz can give his take as well. I love Brian Thomas Jr. Regardless of the matchup. I know it's going to be a tough matchup this week against the Titans in a game that we don't even know how that game is going to go as far as game script goes. It could be a blowout. It could be a 9-6 wash, but AJ Brown was heavily targeted by Pickett when he was in relief of Hurts. But I'm going with the hot hand. I'm going with the guy that's commanding those targets and for sure can play with a quarterback no matter who it is, and that's Brian Thomas Jr. And I love Bryce Young's matchup this week quite a bit. I think that's going to be quite the shootout in Tampa. And Drake May also has a decent matchup, but I'm going to say this Bryce Young for me and Brian Thomas Jr. Bigz, what do you got for this?
Well, I'm digging into these numbers a little bit, and you and I both really are big Brian Thomas Jr. fans at this point. Let me start off with the Bryce Young call. I love Bryce Young. I love Drake May. In this matchup, I like Bryce Young over Drake May. Hopefully, we can still roll with Richardson, but it's not looking pretty. I also have Josh Downs. Now, the last time the Jaguars played Tennessee, Brian Thomas Jr. had 12 targets and 16 points. His ceiling is higher than A.J. Brown's this week. Brian Thomas Jr. had 28 points last week. A.J. Brown had 25. They both have bad quarterback situations. Philadelphia has a higher their point ceiling is higher. They have a Vegas implied point total of 27.5. And, the Dallas pass defense isn't that great. Tennessee has tended to suppress pass catchers for the most part this season. But again, Brian Thomas Jr.'s floor at 16 points, I like him maybe to get in the end zone. So I'm going to say A.J. Brown and Bryce Young.
So he's going A.J. Brown, Bryce Young. I'm going to go Brian Thomas and Bryce Young. So it's splitting hairs there. A.J. Brown, like I said, I mean,
you're talking about potentially two top 10 wide receivers.
Exactly.
Are you locked into other players so hard that you can't start both of them is my question.
Exactly. I think both of them are very startable and potentially top 10 wide receivers. And it's just a matter of the game script. And at this time of the year, it's hard to predict that. But I'm going with Brian Thomas because I just think the game stretch here is good. And I don't really trust Kenny Pickett. He's injured as well. So he's ready to play. But, Jalen Hurts has been ruled out for sure. And
we may not trust Kenny Pickett, but A.J. Brown was wide receiver 6 last week with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts was the one that threw him the touchdown pass. So
sure.
Yeah. So I mean, his upside. I mean, he's just going to get. I'm going to go with a guy that's scoring the touchdowns and getting the targets in an offense that, no matter who it is, it seems like he's doing well. And
that's what I'm saying. They're both doing that. They're both top 10 wide receiver plays. And Philadelphia is just in a position where they're likely going to score more points, and Tennessee has a fairly good pass defense. So if I'm looking at ceiling plays in the mid to upper 20s and floor plays in the mid teens versus 20, I'm going to go with the 20-point floor play, and that's where I think A.J. Brown sits, and Brian Thomas Jr. is a little bit lower than that, simply because the last time he faced the Jaguars, he had 16 points. So that's why I would lean toward A.J. Brown. But again, and jump in the chat if you can, who else do you have that you're making that decision?
He said he started Nico Collins, and he has Justin Jefferson locked in. And obviously Justin Jefferson is a must start. And
The other thing is AJ Brown has a lot more to play for. There are myriad reasons. Now, I also have Nico Collins in my most important championship matchup, and I don't have the AJ Brown decision to make, so I will have Brian Thomas Jr. because otherwise it's Khalil Shakir is my only bench option. Now that Kamara is out, and yeah, it's
I think that Brian Thomas has got a lot to play for too. He's having one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in not in a long time because Jefferson and Chase, but alongside that type of production, he's en route for a very big rookie season, and I think he wants to show his spot there as an elite wide receiver in this league, and I see him playing for it too. So both tough ones. I love it. And that's why we're here. But good on you.
You are here.
At least we've helped you with the Bryce Young call for sure. All right, let's keep it going here, bigz. There's more questions in the chat, so let's just get to them. Hey guys, pick one flex between Brian Thomas Jr., Jordan Addison, or James Conner, or I put Jordan Addison or Brian Thomas Jr. over Devontae Adams. This is a PPR league. Thank you. You want to start this one off, bigz? And
I will partly answer for Grindberg. Start Devontae Adams. All right. Pick one between BTJ, Jordan Addison, or James Conner. If that's tough. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of them. I feel like the wide receivers have a higher ceiling than James Conner does, but I mean Conner could absolutely blow up in this game. I'm gonna rank them as where's Minnesota at? Where's Minnesota at? Why can't I find it? Is it that low? No.
Minnesota's at Green Bay, and they're playing in
Minnesota. I'm putting it in that order: BTJ, Jordan Addison, James Conner.
And would you replace any of them over Devontae Adams?
I would put BTJ in over Devontae Adams.
I agree with that too. And the internet is much better today. Absolutely, Brent. Appreciate you stopping by again. Last night's PAT was a bit choppy for a couple situations, but Big was on the road, and we appreciate him coming in. And
it wasn't my fault. I was the only one that was solid.
Yeah. Shev's was a bit sketchy too, but yeah, for me, definitely get Brian Thomas Jr. in there. I'm starting him over Devontae Adams, but I'm starting Devontae over Jordan Addison and James Conner, and I'm going to go with pick one between the flex. It would be Devontae. So I'm going to start Brian Thomas and Devontae. And that's what you're going with too, right there, bigz? Or are you starting Addison?
BTJ and Addison.
Okay. All right. Nico laid an egg for me. Need one quarterback, two running back, one wide receiver, one flex. PPR. The Nixon Love, Gibbs, Bucky, JT, Chua. Whoa, there's a nice starting running back room there. Sutton, Higgins, and McConkey.
Okay, so I'm going with Love over Nix.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain pretty hard there in that Denver game. So I'm definitely going Love in the dome against the Vikings, who he showed really hard in the second half. The first time they played, he laid a dud in the first half. Love did, but he came on really hard in the second. So Love is an automatic one for me.
And then Gibbs, Bucky, Jonathan Taylor, Chuba. I'm going Gibbs no matter what, and I'm going Gibbs and Bucky, and then one wide receiver, one flex. Let's go Jonathan Taylor and Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, I have it the exact same way. Instead, though, I would use I like Taylor over Bucky this week, but that's not even an issue at this stage. So yeah, give me quarterback Love. I go Gibbs and Taylor, and then my flex would be Bucky, and then my wide receiver would be McConkey this week.
Same.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. Love it. I like it when we agree, bigz, and I think our viewers do too, because it's easier for them to make that decision. Now,
I like when we disagree. It's better content.
Okay, we got Jaden Reed, Pittman, or Disley at flex?
No, you're wrong. Jaden Reed.
Oh, Jaden Reed for me by a mile. I think he's got a really good upside week this week. This could
2 miles.
Yeah. What's up, Coach? Welcome
Coach
in, Coach.
What's up?
Coach
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, man. Welcome in,
Live?
Coach.
Are you live?
We're live.
man. Yeah. All right. So, bigz, let's get into our start and sits here, and let's.
J.K. Dobbins. Start J.K. Dobbins. Start J.K. Dobbins. Start J.K. Dobbins.
So you're going to start J.K. Dobbins. He's still questionable. So if he plays, he's an auto start for you. Yeah. You're for sure thinking about that. Okay. So if he's played, my start of the week for my number one start of the week is going to be Deebo Samuel. And I just think that he's a must start. He had a great week 16, 121 yards from scrimmage, 96 yards and a touchdown in the air, 25 fantasy points, 7 of 9 targets. And then he gets a Detroit Lions defense that ranks second most in receiving yards allowed to opposing wide receivers. So I just think that Deebo is ready to burn it up this week and on Monday Night Football and help people win some championships if you got Deebo around.
Just don't start his brother Curtis.
Okay. Curtis Samuel. Do not start Curtis Samuel. Let's go. Okay. Who's your next start, Biggs?
My next start is Jalen Coker. Adam Thielen is not likely to play, and I love Jalen Coker. Put him in your lineup. It's going to be a shootout in Tampa Bay. And yeah, Bryce Young is going to be chucking the ball, and I love the stack of Jalen Coker and Bryce Young.
I also like the stack in Carolina as well, and I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to go Adam Thielen if he ends up playing. I think both these guys are very viable options this week. Biggs and I had it out a couple of weeks ago about the Coker Thielen situation, and
that's revisionist history, Mike. We were having a discussion, and you said to start Adam Thielen, and I said, and Chev agreed that Jalen Coker is the best wide receiver, and I said Thielen had a couple good weeks, but that was with Coker out. And then last week
he came back and then Thielen outscored Coker last week. So they're tossing up and they're pretty much even. And actually Thielen has been the more productive wide receiver this year. So I'm going to continue him as well. And I think he's going to have another good game this week. I think he's the number one target for Bryce Young, and he's a red zone threat as well. So while he can have the deep throws to Coker, I'm going to take the intermediate routes and the stuff that matters in the end zone. So give me, Adam Thielen once again.
But that wasn't your thing. Oh yeah, you did say that.
I did say that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Start them both.
The amount of mustache in here has me subscribing. I love it.
Yes. You know what? I was telling somebody the other day, there are two kinds of people in this world. Those that can grow a nice mustache, and then there are those that appreciate a nice mustache.
Love it. I love it. Okay, let's see if we've got any more questions in here before we get into
set all Browns pass catchers.
There you go. Yes, I 100% agree. And that includes David Njoku for you there.
He's out.
Is he out? For sure?
Out.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, and Tillman is too, I think, now as well. So we know that. And then that leaves Judy and Elijah Moore. And we all know DTR is not going to do it. So let's go.
Jamari Thrash as a DFS play.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, at this stage of the game, you never know, right? So
it's a dark throw.
Yeah. I got a couple bigger name guys that I'm sitting, and that's one is Ramondre Stevenson. I just think that he's had some solid performances this season, but his recent usage, he's got a tough matchup against the Chargers. I think it's going to be questionable for anybody to start him. Stevenson has scored 23rd among running backs in fantasy points, which is, a liable starter, but I in a tough situation against a tough defense, I'm going to look elsewhere. There's some other options here that I'm looking at over Ramondre this week.
We hella called the Ramondre push this year.
Yeah, and it was good. It was a great resurgence, and he helped us in a lot of spots. So
told ya exactly.
There you go. Ramondre. But this week he's a sit for me. Do you have another sit for our viewers here, Biggs, before we get into some more of these? Yeah.
Aria Rico. Aria Suave. Sit Rico Dowdle. The Dallas Cowboys have a terrible matchup against Philadelphia's run defense. Cooper Rush might find himself he's going to find himself playing from behind. He's going to be trying to get to Ferguson. He's going to be trying to get to Tolbert. He's going to be trying to get to Cooks. But that Philadelphia defense locks people down. They are the worst matchup of the week for wide receivers, and they are a bottom 3 matchup for running backs. 16.5 implied point. 16.5 implied point total from Vegas, and the fact that they tend to funnel the run and shut it down. I don't think Rico Dowdle is going to have much usage this week, and certainly doesn't have a whole lot of touchdown upside.
I was a lot more less optimistic about Rico. If Jalen Hurts were to play, I think this could be a game where he's got a little bit more upside than he did a week ago, knowing that Jalen Hurts is out. So he's definitely not a strong play. But in a lot of lineups, I have to start him because he got me to this stage and in this final push. So
Mike, we're not talking about what you have to do. We're talking about what you have the option to do. If you have the option to sit Rico Dowdle and put somebody else in, like Jonathan Taylor or somebody like that, if you're cycling through 4 running backs and, a lot of them have better plays like Isaac Garendo or, who's another one? Audric Estime. Make Dowdle the one that sits on your bench.
There you go. All right. My final sit is before we get into more of this chat conversation is Cooper Kupp. His stock has been, on a downward trajectory. He's just not, cutting it right now. The Rams defense has played really good the last couple games, causing them not to have to use their passing game as much. And Puka Nacua has been just outstanding. Kupp has been shut down. Week 15, he only managed just 3 catches for 24 yards in week 16. So, a couple of weeks in a row where he's just been not the Cooper Kupp that we know of. So his recent struggles, Puka Nacua as the primary receiver there, and it's just not looking good, especially this week in his matchup. So I'm not starting Cooper Kupp. I'm starting a guy like Jalen McMillan over Cooper Kupp this week. Yeah. Now we got Coach back in just in time for the chat to be lively up here. So folks,
we have breaking news. Will Shipley has been declared out.
Oh, tough scene, man.
It is tough scenes here, and we're going to have to persevere, aren't we?
Mike, I heard you say something, talk dirty to me, man. Jalen McMillan, I took his over on his receiving yards. I think his receptions are set at 4.5, 5.5, whatever it was. I took the over on FanDuel today. Really like that. Panthers are banged up. Mike Evans overs. Hey, go for it, man.
Okay, Biggs. We got a big question here from Griefix, and he's in a sticky situation, aren't we all? We're all in a little bit of a sticky situation, and we know, you really like J.K. Dobbins if he plays this week, but Tyrone Tracy could have some upside too, but he's questionable as well. You like Dobbins here, Biggs?
Tracy is slated to play, although the New York Giants playing is just a terrible matchup as far as everybody goes and everybody is concerned. Digging into the Chargers matchup, New England allows the 4th most points to opposing running backs. So it's a clear J.K. Dobbins for me.
Okay, there you go. And I tend to agree here. I am worried about Dobbins coming off, but there's some players I would be starting over J.K. Dobbins, but neither Ramondre or Tracy is one of them for me.
Let's talk about Dobbins for a second, because that dude, there are some sayings out there about like he doesn't give you more than you can handle or whatever. That dude has been like shot in the foot so many times. And look at him. He just keeps bouncing back. He had his second surgery last offseason, came back and was putting up RB1 numbers. Had a little hiccup here towards the end of the season. It's J.K. Dobbins, baby. Like, the dude is going to smash.
And you know what? And to add to that, bigz, look at how anemic the Chargers offense has been without a run game. And since J.K. Dobbins, they haven't been able to, move the ball as much. They've had to rely on their defense and Justin Herbert a little bit more scrambling. And that's not a recipe for success. So I think they need Dobbins here. What are your thoughts here, Coach?
Hey, looking at what Grifix put up on FanDuel right now, over under Ramondre Stevenson for rushing yards, 42.5 at -113. J.K. Dobbins over under 55.5 yards. So almost a 13-yard difference for J.K. Dobbins. So you're saying something about sitting Ramondre but needing an RB2. I think your answer there is going to lead to Dobbins. As bigz was talking about, it's going to be a good matchup. The Chargers are a 4.5-point favorite in a low totaled 42.5-point game for over-under. We're talking game script-wise, to bigz' point, opportunity share is going to be there. It's an excellent matchup. And if Dobbins is suiting up, he's not coming in just to kind of mail it in a little bit, ease in. He's there to play. So I really like that call. The one spot where I would like Tyrone Tracy is in a points per carry league. That would be another spot where he would be good, maybe a 0.25. But again, in a 0.25, I would give the benefit to Dobbins because weirdly, Devin Singletary ends up getting some of the run for no reason. The Giants are building for what? And they decide to punish Tracy when Tracy makes a mistake. But that's the rub on between Dobbins and Tracy, especially on the numbers for FanDuel there. There's a differential. I would go with J.K. Dobbins.
On top of the implied points totals for the two teams, like one of the things that we have to kind of do when we're getting into analysis is look at what Vegas is doing, because Vegas has some pretty darn good calls and they get pretty close, especially with their point totals. Now, sometimes they're exploitable and sometimes like they're really, really off, but that's just what happens when you throw the human element in there. But Dallas is doing some sharp data analysis. So when they are high on a team, it's one of two things. Either it's dead on or that's the way that the public is betting. That's the way Vegas lines get put. And J.K. Dobbins is implied to outrush Tyrone Tracy this week. I agree too. Vegas.
I love it. All right. Welcome in, Chev, the legendary ball knower. Welcome back, Chev. Great to have you. Our viewers are excited to have you back too. And do you have anything insight, or is this a clean sweep here for us? Are we all going Dobbins in this one, Chev?
Smash.
All right, guys, I love it. Okay, so hopefully, Grifix, we led you in the right direction here, and good luck in that championship match. All right, let's get another one in here. Shadow is wicked. Need one for flex. He's got Marvin Harrison Jr., Chig, Rico Dowdle, Jerome Ford, Tajay Spears. Thanks in advance. This is a great.
Chig is out.
Chig is out.
Oh, wait, that's another. Not. Sorry, that was a different. That was
three touchdowns, Chig. I heard that last night. I heard it on PAT.
Sorry. I got a notification on Sleeper earlier from one of my IDP leagues. Somebody with a name that's similar to Chig.
It wasn't Okonkwo. No, it was
Okwaworo or something like that. Onkwaro. Yeah. So my brain,
the guy from Cleveland, right?
Yeah. I just tismed all over you guys.
For me, in this one here, I'm going Jerome Ford. Give me Jerome Ford in this one. I think he's known to catch passes from the backfield. He had 5 receptions last week, and he's explosive off the line. He back-to-back games, 2 huge gains. He exploited the Chiefs run defense. So I like Jerome Ford here. I do like Chig as well, but I just don't think he's going to get those 3 touchdowns. Maybe 1, but I like Jerome Ford's upside. What about you guys? Anybody in agreement with me?
Well, 2 questions I have. Is this a tight end premium at all for the 1.5? I'm going to assume it's just a 1 PPR straight across the board. Is there clarity on whether or not Tony Pollard is active? Chev, would you know? Because at that point, I would be really high on Tajay Spears.
He hasn't practiced, but that means nothing. He doesn't have to practice apparently to play. So like you can't infer anything. You have to wait until 10:30 on Sunday to figure out whether or not Tony Pollard's playing.
And then, of course, against that, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., who plays on Saturday. But I think it's pretty consensus through the four of us that you're not rolling out Marvin Harrison Jr. Oddly enough, Marvin Harrison Jr. just mentioned something about it has not been as easy of a season as he would have hoped.
Marvin Harrison is, he's on the ban list for the rest of 2024.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle is my sit of the week. Tyjae Spears, I'm playing if Tony Pollard doesn't play. I hate Jerome Ford's matchup this week. Miami is better against the run than people think.
You hated it last week.
They absolutely shut. This is a different matchup. They're playing the Miami Dolphins, who absolutely shut down the 49ers run game, which is a plug-and-play thing that got Isaac Guerrero and Jordan Mason into RB1 territory. I don't like – on top of the fact that DTR is running the ball and the Cleveland Browns are terrible, I don't like Jerome Ford's matchup this week. I like.
I think that Mike just likes Jerome Ford as much as he likes somebody like, I don't know, Terry McLaurin.
I like Jerome Ford that much too.
Yeah.
I hate this week. And, you know, that Cleveland has nothing to play for. DTR has nothing to play for.
No.
Miami has something to play for. They tend to shut down the run. It's just like it's a terrible, terrible week for Jerome Ford. Then you have Chigo Okonkwo going against one of the civiest tight end point total funnels in all of fantasy football. I love the Chig smash this week.
Wow.
Marvin Harrison Jr., he's in a position where there's only one person on the Arizona Cardinals that Kyler Murray can get the ball to consistently, and that's closer to the line of scrimmage with Trey McBride. MHJ just happened to wind up in a terrible, terrible spot for him. I'm getting Treylon Burks vibes all over the place with that one. Rico Dowdle is my sit of the week, and Tyjae Spears is he's in a tandem backfield. It changes if Tennessee sits Pollard. Then Tyjae is my number one and Chig is my number two.
I totally agree. I like that. And also for reference, talking about Vegas, plus 110 odds for both Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard right now to score a touchdown. Right now, what they're saying is we don't necessarily know. We'll find out. But in the meantime, the odds are the same. They're not going to get right? And then
Chig at 3 touchdowns.
Say what?
What's Chig at 3 touchdowns? Like 5,500, 7,500?
Let's see if they offer it. They're not offering it right now.
Of course not.
But 2 touchdowns, which yours truly has already bet. We're just pressing buttons here. It's plus 3,200. I might have played him with some Trey McBride too. So we're just pressing buttons here.
We're just pressing buttons here.
Yeah. What do you got on this there, Chev?
Man.
Titans insider, Chev.
Yeah, I'm going with this is pretty easy. Tyjae Spears to me. I mean, the reason being Jacksonville allowed like the 3rd most yards before contact to any team in the NFL. They're bad against, they're terrible covering running backs out of the backfield. On top of that, they play one of the highest rates of man coverage, so that's a positive for Chig as well because their linebackers can't cover. They couldn't cover a fire with a wet blanket. So I don't think that there's any way that Chig and Tyjae both, like, if it's a competitive game script, it makes me a little bit less bullish because so much of their production comes when they're down more than one score. But if I'm assuming that Tony Pollard's going to play the normal snap share he's played the last 2 weeks, which is around like 40% of the snaps, and the rest of it's going to Tyjae Spears. And if that happens, Tyjae Spears to the moon.
Yeah, if Tony Pollard isn't playing, I'm all in on Tyjae this week. I'm a little bit
even if he plays, like 38 to 40% of the snaps, like between 35 and 40, and the rest goes to Tyjae. So, yeah.
So are you expecting a high scoring game then? Like, because the last time these two teams played, they were not. This was a very low scoring game. Are you expecting some offense in this one?
I'm expecting Tyjae Spears to finish with around 75 total yards and a score.
So
the Titans have the best passing matchup of the week and 20 implied points essentially. So it's supposed to be like in the 40-point range.
Hey, I just looked at it, right? It's 39.5 points. I am placing a bet right now, minus 106, $5 to win 472. 39.5. What are we doing here, man? The Jaguars give up 4 touchdowns a game or just thereabouts.
What was the Raiders-Jags score last week? Was it under 40?
That's what's showing. But I like
it under 40?
I like it to regress.
I take the under on this one. Mr. Out of the Box, thanks for your super chat. Chase Brown, Brian Robinson Jr., Jamison Williams, Cooper Kupp, Debo, Devontae Smith, Jerome Ford, sit 2.
Brian Robinson Jr. and Devontae Smith.
Devonta Smith is a for sure sit for me. I've got Cooper Kupp as a sit of the week for me as well. I don't like his matchup, but I also don't like Brian Robinson's situation. I'm going to agree with you there, Chev. I'm going to go Brian Robinson and Devonta Smith. Anybody else on that train?
I'm sitting Jerome Ford and Devonta Smith.
I'm in on Devonta Smith. That's a sweep. I'm torn between Brian Robinson Jr. and Jerome Ford there. The situation hasn't been bright for Brian Robinson Jr. the last few weeks. Jerome Ford, albeit with DTR, is going to get the unabated opportunity share. I'm gonna sit Brian Robinson Jr. and it's a clean sweep for Devonta Smith. Sit.
All right. Hopefully that helped you, Mr. Out of the Box. All right. Spears or Dobbins this week? Kupp or Garendo?
Dobbins and Kupp.
It completely flips with the Spears Pollard situation. I would give me the Spears upside with the PPR. Dobbins, it's a little more safe. As it sits right now, I definitely go Dobbins. With Kupp and Garendo, is Garendo for sure going to play? He's got a questionable tag.
He's back, but yeah,
I got to go. I think I go.
The Niners Detroit matchup is a wide receiver play, not a running back play. If there's any way that Pollard doesn't play and you can do Spears and Dobbins, I'd do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. If I could get Spears and Dobbins in, I would be doing that. I don't like the Kupp matchup. I don't like his situation after the last couple of weeks. And then Garendo is questionable. And like Big said, they're playing the Lions, who are really stout against the run. I got a lot of smash plays against the, I think George Kittle's an awesome play. I think Debo's a great play. And I think Jawan Jennings is a good play this week. So I think Garendo's going to suffer because of it.
And
not that the Lions being good against the run stopped Josh Jacobs, but Isaac Garendo is also not Josh Jacobs.
And if the Panthers can throw up 36 points on the Arizona Cardinals at home in perfect conditions, give me the Rams the opportunity share there with Cooper Kupp in what I think could be a shootout because Trey McBride will not score just 1 touchdown. He will score 2 touchdowns.
You guys, we have breaking news. Marcus Mariota is questionable.
All right. Need 1 half PPR. Connor, if he plays, Dobbins, Ford, or Tracy. Achan is my RB2. I mean, if Connor plays, I think he has to be in your lineup 100%.
I think it goes in that order.
Yep, me too.
Connor if he plays, Dobbins if he doesn't, and then Ford or Tracy if somebody gets in a car wreck before the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Dance. And I know that Chev last night said if you got to look away with James Conner, if you're worried about him, just look away and you'll end up with some points in your fantasy lineup. Go James Conner.
Let's go James Conner. I love it. Okay.
Thanks, Big Lou.
You guys want to insert your Big Penix energy, AR5 or a Bo Nix?
You know what they say about guys with a big Penix? They don't need to talk about their big Penix.
Yeah.
If AR5 plays, I'm playing him. Otherwise, it's a big Penix. and not Bo Nix.
For why?
Wow, that's a
What?
For why?
Average depth of target.
what concerns me about
If they both complete 18 passes, Penix is going to be for 280 yards, and Bo Nix is going to be for 170.
I'm hearing about some really bad weather in the Denver game. It could be raining really, really hard, come up to game time and all the way through the game. And Bo Nix isn't shown. I heard that on the Audible yesterday. So, I'm thinking, this game could be very, very rough as far as points go. It could be a ground game. I'm worried about Joe Burrow this week, if that is the case. Not so much about, Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. But if I'm a T. Higgins owner, I'm a little bit worried with some weather coming in. I'm going to go with Big Penix in this situation. If the weather clears up there, I'm a little bit more bullish on Bo Nix because of his rushing upside as well. Big Penix has got some rushing upside, and we have yet to see him throw downfield, but we'll see what happens here this week. What about you guys?
Let me get a chance real quick to answer Chev honestly and with complete forthrightness. I say Big Penix over Bo Nix, and he says why. 100%. Because there's never been a point in my life that I ever would pick Bo Nix over Michael Penix, whether they were in college, coming into the draft, while they're playing in the same week. That hasn't ever happened, and it's because of unbridled bias.
I respect that.
Not analysis, bias.
Here's a question: does it change at all?
That's called ball knowledge.
Does it change at all? 4-point passing touchdowns versus 6 with the rushing upside that Bo Nix provides versus somebody like Michael Penix.
In 6-point, I like Penix better.
That's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah.
But does it change at all going down to 4?
If it's down to 4, I still think that Penix has escapability. He's quite removed from the injury that he had that kind of shut down his running ability before he got to Washington. He can scramble. They may not have as many quarterback runs dialed up as with Bo Nix, but I mean, just simply the way that Bo Nix handles the quarterback position, his targets are all close to the line of scrimmage, and Penix can get the ball down the field. So if they're completing the same amount of passes, all things being equal, Penix has higher touchdown passing upside, and he's also going to throw for more yards. So in that case, then the rushing upside kind of becomes negligible. It turns into in 4-point somebody like Sam Howell versus Jared Goff.
So it also shootout potential.
Being the Bo Nix guy here.
Bo Nix versus Bengals or Penix and Commanders.
I like Jaden Daniels to create a huge lead. So Washington's going to win their game, and Cincinnati's going to win their game. So both teams are going to be playing from behind. So it's that's kind of negligible too.
All right. You want to give your Bo Nix side?
Let's go, Chev.
Okay, this is all caveat. The major caveat here is the weather terrible in Denver? If so, disregard everything I'm about to say. It's a 49-point over-under, 49.5-point over-under. The Bengals defense can't stop anybody. I mean, they look like a competent unit against Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think we can all agree that Bo Nix is at least fractionally better than Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Cortland Sutton, hey, don't make me pull the Notes app out again and tell you where Cortland Sutton's at. All right. Cam Taylor-Britt's played some better football, but he's about to get his lunch taken by Cortland Sutton. We said that Bo Nix isn't throwing the ball down the field. However, he had one of the most impressive throws of the season on Monday Night Football to Marvin Mims. They've been looking for him more down the field in the last few weeks. And it seems like Sean Payton is kind of opening it up and letting him throw the ball over the middle of the field. It's led to more mistakes, but also let him make those mistakes so he can figure it out, even though, him and Penix are both AARP card carrying members. of this rookie class. So that coupled with the fact that this game could shoot out, if very important, if there it is, big if there is not a torrential downpour or snowstorm or whatever in the world is going to happen in Denver this weekend, I like that game the most to shoot out. And I like Bo Nix to give you probably close to 20. I mean, he seems like the safest bet of these three to give you 20 fantasy points this week.
I'm going to jump in. One thing about the Cincinnati Bengals defense, they do give up a lot of points, but I rolled into 3 or 4 playoffs with defense special teams running with the Cincinnati Bengals because they are turnover opportunists, which means that there's a very likely chance for Bo Nix to at least throw an interception, get a strip sack, lose a fumble. So negative points coming from those turnovers by the opportunistic Cincinnati Bengals defense, even if they're scoring 25, 30 points.
Let's make sure that we put the caveat out there that the 2 teams that they played during the fantasy playoffs, the Browns, the Titans, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Will Levis. All right. Turnover machines. Bo Nix is not quite the turnover machine Will Levis is, if not only fractionally better. So,
he also prefers Duke's mayo.
As one real ball knower should.
Duke's, Kewpie, Best Foods / Hellman's.
If the weather is okay in Denver, I'm going with you, Chev, on the Bo Nix train. If it should weather, then I'm going to go with Penix. Let's move on. We got about
never.
We got 7 minutes left here, folks. A couple more questions on here to get through. Let's do it. McMillan or Olave as my second flex. Olave, he hasn't been cleared yet. Still not sure. I mean, for fantasy managers, still have him on their bench. He's a great addition, but I'm starting McMillan over Olave, even if Olave plays.
Same.
Yeah, no chance I'm playing Olave this week.
Clean sweep.
We're sweeping it. I took a bet over yards receiving for McMillan. It is McMillan. You can't trust Olave, especially with the quarterback situation, not at all. And just one little note, gentlemen, this game is in Cincinnati. So when we're looking at the weather reports, be looking at Cincinnati.
Oh, in my ear, it is Spencer Rattler, not Derek Carr. Incidentally, I do have Derek Carr on my thumbnail for a Player Profiler today, which comes up on Player Profiler News with myself and Chev at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. East Coast. I do not want a wide receiver, no matter whether he has Olave's skill set, upside, whatever, attached to Spencer Rattler. Give me McMillan every day of the week. Maybe moving forward over the course of their careers, I might have a little different tack, but McMillan this week.
In my 2 quarterback league, if AR is out, do I start Penix, Rush, Flacco, or Rudolph?
Wait a minute. What's the Flacco play?
If AR is out.
Oh, yeah. Indy. Okay. I totally forgot about that. That changes everything.
Yeah, that changes a lot for Josh Downs there, Biggs. And I thought you when you had that mention when A Rich was out, I think this is the great thing for Josh Downs.
Yeah.
If A Rich is out, I think Josh Downs becomes immediate top 24 play.
Bad news for Jax.
there you go. So if AR is out, do you start Flacco over Rush, Penix, and Rudolph?
Where is Indy playing?
Indy is playing. Give me 1 second here.
Giants at home, I believe.
Giants at home. Yeah.
Indoors.
No.
No.
It's at New York.
It's at New York.
There it is.
Yep, it is in fact at New York.
Yeah, I think I'm still going Flacco
Over Penix.
Yep. Flacco.
Yeah. And Rush. I know Philly's a tough matchup, but without Hurts, this game could be a bit closer potentially. I don't know. It's a low line, so
you could even talk me into Rudolph.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I would go personally. I would go Rudolph and Flacco.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Rudolph then Flacco, because he needs just to start one.
We say if AR is my 2 QB, do I start Penix, Rush, Flacco, or Rudolph? So it's just one.
Yeah,
Rudolph.
Yeah,
Rudolph.
I'll go Flacco here.
Same.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Flacco, just based because I see him do it, and I think he makes it those guys better. And it's a pretty greasy matchup there against the Giants.
In both the Flacco matchup with the Giants, they're a 40.5 over under, and then we had spoken to before a 39.5 point over under for the Jags and the Titans. So we are splitting hairs. The discussion's worth it. I'm going to lay with Flacco in that.
And technically, Indy is still not out of the playoff race, so they do have something to play for here. So they're not mathematically out. So there's going to be some incentive to win this game for them too. So I love it, guys. Appreciate everybody for joining in. We're going to be heading over to the Dynasty Pulse over on the Andropolis Network. So we're going to be doing some start and sit questions there. So if the folks have some unanswered questions, you can just hop over to that network and join us there. Appreciate everybody from joining us today on the Fantasy Forecast live start and sit show. Appreciate Coach and Chev for coming in. They're a great addition to our team here, and appreciate you all for tuning in today. Biggs, got anything else to jump in here?
Yeah, unless your name is JJ Hay, Jax Falcone, or Big Draft Energy, I hope you win.
We hope you win, folks, and remember to catch us always here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network for all your up-to-date analysis and all the information you need to win your championship. So, Chev?
Oh, also Breakfast with Biggs at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Look for that.
Championship week, Breakfast with Biggs. Chev, you got anything to say before we hit the road?
We hope you win.
Coach?
Yep. Yeah, I hope you win. Come see us next time.
Peace out, everybody.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.